In ancient tradition, especially in Greek tradition and Mesopotamian tradition and Roman tradition, there's a certain concept about how eyes could invoke harm on humans. Now, Greeks summed this up pretty well to be called the evil eye, right? And this is complete paganism, right? In ancient Greek tradition, it's all paganism. Anyways, ancient Greeks who were pagans, and ancient historians and ancient philosophers that were Greek would oftentimes actually talk about this, right? Specifically talking about Roman authors like Pliny the Elder in the 1st century. He wrote about the power of certain people's gaze being able to bring misfortune on people. These myths and rumors were so famous that the Greek physician Hippocrates wrote about how people would fall ill due to an evil gaze. Now, focusing a little bit on Greek philosophy, we can look at the writings of Plutarch, who was shortly after the death of Jesus Christ, being born around 46 AD, dying 120 AD, right? We have in his writings making brief mentions of such statements like, "For this reason, we are entitled, I think, to the most surprise at anyone who believes that while men are passively influenced and suffer harm through their eyes." So people can influence and suffer people with harm by their eyes. And it goes on to say, "But as regards the psychical, including the casting of spells, how precisely can harm spread to others by a mere glance of the eye?" Again, making mention of people having harm done to them just with a mere glance of an eye, right? And it goes on to actually make mention of some of the claims of the victims of this evil eye. If you keep reading, it says, "If we do set down as true what many say about victims of the evil eye, surely you are not ignorant that some people believe that friends and relatives, and in some cases even fathers, have the evil eye." So, it says that surely you are not ignorant that some people believe that friends and relatives, and even in some cases even fathers, have the evil eye. Right? So friends will accuse their friends of having the evil eye, and relatives will accuse their relatives of having the evil eye. And what we get from that is that these are common cases, and these are common things that they're hearing about the evil eye. Many of the cases are from friends talking about friends, like saying, "This, my friend has an evil eye," or other cases from their relatives. "My so-and-so, my cousin, my son, my mother, my father, they have the evil eye," right? It was an accusative from friends or family. It was most of the time that people were, bringing this claim up. And then it goes on to say, "So that their wives will not show them their children, nor allow the children to be gazed upon by them for very long. They would be violent," and what? This is very important. They wouldn't be allowed to gaze upon them for very long. This is going to be important for later on in the video. It goes on to say, however, "How under these circumstances can we still believe that this affliction derives from envy?" So they, are in a debate about where it comes from. They say jealousy, envy, all kinds of things. But they make mention, right? This is 500 years before Muhammad, 100 years after Christ, right? That's when he died, 120 something years, 20 some years after Jesus Christ. And yeah, that's what we get from him, right? It talks about how this evil eye is invoked upon either jealousy, envy, and that it's possible, and and these guys are all pagans, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Plutarch was pagan, and this tradition, right, the evil eye curse, was involved with pagan societies and pagan traditions. So why am I bringing all this up? Well, that brings me to this video, right? Muhammad, right, we're going to get into it, had a lot to do with paganism, right? Muhammad was a dirty little pagan, and I will prove it today and now. And just with all of the sources that I just read out to you, I will show you how Muhammad has gotten influence from pagan ideologies like the evil eye, which is a complete pagan ideology. It's a complete pagan symbol. It came from paganism. It's pagan, and Muhammad believed in it, and so did his mother, and we're going to get to it all. So did his companions. We're going to get into every little detail. In Mizan al-Haq, page 345, we are told some interesting things. We are told that Ibn Ishaq says that before the revelation began to descend upon him, Muhammad's friends feared that he was suffering from what? The evil eye. And that when it came upon him, almost the same illness attacked him again. What this particular malady was, we can perhaps infer from the statements of the traditions Ali Halabi in his Turkish work, right, which informs us that many people declared that Amina, Muhammad's mother, used a spell in order to recover him from the influence of the evil eye. Muhammad would have spells be done on him from his mother to rid him of these curses that people would invoke on him from an evil eye, from a glance. There would be suffering on him. Look what it says here. At the bottom it says very clearly, as for the apostle of God, when inspiration descended on him, no one could raise his glance to him until the inspiration came to an end. Remember how we get from the Greek pagans, saying that nobody was allowed to look at them, right? And that how friends would accuse their other friends of being under this curse of the evil eye, and how relatives would presumably assume that their relatives, their sons, daughters, whatever have you, is under the curse of this evil eye that is came from pagan roots, right? This is a complete false curse. It's fake. It doesn't exist. And Muhammad's mother believed it to the point she would do spells on her son, witchcraft. One of my favorite hadiths about this topic, right, is it's kind of like he saw the prophet eating chicken, right? It's one of those, right? It says the words, just the evil eye is real. Right, that's all it says. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Amir bin Rabi'a from his father that the Prophet said, "The evil eye is real." Great Sahih. Sunan ibn Majah 3506. Now there's another hadith, right, where the Prophet has guided Aisha. It was narrated from Aisha that the Prophet commanded her to recite Ruqya to treat the evil eye. So if anybody doesn't know, Ruqya is basically an Islamic healing practice, right? You basically recite verses from the Quran to treat the sickness, right? Specific verses, not any verses. Anyways, let's move on to a Quran verse, right? And why this is quite interesting is because it's basically word for word what the pagans viewed the evil eye to do, and it's like basically the pagan evil eye summed up in a pretty good sentence. And I'll just let Allah speak for himself here.
وَإِن يَكَادُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُزْلِقُونَكَ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ لَمَّا سَمِعُوا الذِّكْرَ وَيَقُولُونَ إِنَّهُ لَمَجْنُونٌ.
And indeed, those who disbelieve would almost make you slip with their eyes when they hear the message and they say, "Indeed, he is mad."
Many, right, translations, like Muhammad Assad, said stuff like they would kill thee with their eyes, right? And we also get from many translations, like right here, Safi Kaskas, I've used him in other videos. Those unbelievers all but kill you with their evil looks. How are they killing them with their looks? Even Wahid ibn Khan says, when those who deny their truth, they would almost cause you to stumble with their eyes. How are they doing all this stuff with their eyes? We are also told from Musharraf Hassan, they wish to strike you down with their evil eyes. He even says it word for word, evil eyes. This verse, right, even we get from tafsirs, which I'm going to after this, even we get from tafsirs, right, to say that Allah is talking about the evil eye. The Muslim God also believes and invoked Muslims to believe in pagan ideology, stuff that came from pagan societies. I've said this hundreds of times. Abbas, who the cousin, laid his hands upon his shoulder, the shoulders of Abbas, and said, "Give him extreme knowledge," in the Quran. This is recorded in Hadith, Sahih Hadith, right? And this guy, right, who's given the extreme knowledge from Allah, right, has told us this, right? They would kill you with their eyes, and it is said that this means they would give you the evil eye, right, from Ibn Abbas. We get from Ibn Kathir, if we go all the way down, it says, with their eyes, meaning they will affect you by looking at you with their eyes. The evil eye, this means they are jealous of you due to their hatred of you and were not of Allah's protection of you, defending against them, then their evil eye would harm you. The effect of the evil eye is real, right? And this ayah is a proof that the effect of the evil eye and its affliction by the command of Allah is real. Right, so you have from Ibn Kathir, who Muslims are supposed to take, Ibn Abbas, right, that the evil eye is real, something from pagan society, something from paganry is real, that it's literally not real, right? I promise you that the evil eye is not real, but Muhammad's God, right, told everybody that the curse was real because Muhammad's mother would use spells to get rid of these curses upon Muhammad, right? And that's the truth of the matter, right? We have paganry right in front of your eyes, inside of the Quran, from Ibn Kathir, Ibn Abbas. These are very authoritative people. This is honestly, in my opinion, something very wrong in Islam, right? That they actually believe in pagan curses. To read a little bit more of the paganry from the Greeks, right? It says, when those possessed by envy to this degree, talking about the evil eye, right? Let their glance, right, fall upon a person, their eyes which are close to the mind, and draw from it to the evil influence of the passion, then assail that person as if with poisoned arrows. Hence, I conclude it is not paradoxical or incredible. They should have an effect on the persons who encounter their gaze, right? So these are pagan, like, this is where it comes from, like the smartest people who like came up with these ideologies. Like, this is 100 years after Christ. This is when the guy died, 120 years after Christ, and he is talking, right, this is all Greek over here, but this is talking about, right, the evil eye, and it's literally word for word what happened to Muhammad, right? If you look, right, from what the companions thought happened, and if you go to what these guys were talking about, when they say, if we do set down as true what many say about the victims of the evil eye, surely you are not ignorant that some people believe that friends and relatives, and in some cases even fathers, have the evil eye. Muhammad's mother thought his son had the evil eye. Muhammad's companions thought he had the evil eye. Muhammad, right? Look what it says. So that their wives will not show them their children, or allow the children to be gazed upon by them for a very long time. For very long, right? So, right, even inside of Ibn Ishaq, or Abu Hurairah, we're told that very clearly that the companions were not even allowed to glaze at him. Even the way that they went about the evil eye was very similar to pagan practices. It's the same thing that's happening, right? You have a bunch of pagans in the fucking desert. Like I said, right? I shouldn't even have said this whole thing where like Muhammad had epilepsy, right? Muhammad, yes, he shook around like a rag doll when he would get inspiration. Yes, he did emulate epilepsy, but what's weirder is that there's paganry being influenced within Islam. Like, they're literally being influenced by pagans, right? The evil eye didn't come from Allah or Jesus. No, it came from pagans, okay? And then now we have this guy 600 years after Jesus saying, oh yeah, here's the revelations that talk about paganism, and to watch out for people who will cast spells on you just by looking at you, just like how we got from writings from pagans like hundreds of years after Christ. It's like, yeah, it's funny, right? It's a joke at this point, and it's honestly disturbing. Like, I don't know what else to say about it other than Muhammad's a fucking desert pirate and he's a desert pagan, right? Pagans of the desert is what I like to say. He's a pagan of the desert, right? Anyways, at that, I'll see you around. It was fun. Like and subscribe. Hope you learned a thing or two, right, about Muhammad, right? And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.